Ciao friends, my name is Joey Balistreri. Welcome to my work table. Today I am working on some really simple bracelet projects. I'll be using my Golden Hour Shadows treasure box from Potomac Beads for the month of November, and it just was really great this month. It's always a great box, but this month it had some curb chain in it. It had some check glass rondelles. It had some of the beautiful new line Azuki seed beads in it. Potomac pearls, which are just unparalleled. I love getting Potomac pearls. So I'm going to be adding in a few little things from my stash. And this box was really kind of featuring the change in light and colors as we go into the autumn season. So I'm going to do a little bit from the things I've pulled from my stash to give my projects. And I think I'm going to be doing 2 bracelets. It might morph into 3, but at least 2. And I'm gonna start out simple stringing with these gorgeous check glass. I think they were called rondelles, but I call them little disc spacers. I like to use them as spacers, but when I was unboxing and I was looking at these, and plus these gorgeous gold seed beads that came in the box, I was thinking, what a classic, elegant, stunning bracelet this would make to just string it and put some gold, do a little bit of gold in between. And I'll show you what I've pulled from my stash. I'm going to be using my magical crimping plier, put some of those out here. So these are it's called Pale Gold. They're 11-0 metallic Azuki seed beads. It's an up-and-coming line of seed beads, very uniform and just really nice to work with. So I had this left over from something a couple months back, and I just love the black and the gold on this magnetic clasp, and I just pulled this from my stash. I just recently got these, like maybe 4 or 5 months ago, but I was thinking, we think of pumpkin spice lattes and a hot cup of coffee as we go into cooler weather. So I was thinking that would be a really pretty charm for my bracelet. So as I said, this is going to be a really simple stringing project. I have a bracelet length here of a 49 strand beading wire, and I'm going to start out by just making a loop. I'm going to put a number 2 crimp tube on that wire. If you want to, you can always clamp off one end and do your stringing and then, do this at the end. But since I don't have a bead pattern going on this one, I'm going to do the entire length of this bracelet to be exactly the same. I'm going to go ahead and crimp one end and just string to my desired length. So that's my plan. And, you can, like, if you want to, you can, I just don't want to waste so much wire. You can go ahead and put your jump ring in your clasp and use that for leverage, but I just kind of wing it a little bit. So let's see, I'm going to leave it just like that. You can definitely do a fold over crimp method here, but I love my magical crimping plier. And if you're new to that, it just has one single divot in it, and you just fit a number 2 crimp tube really right in the center of that divot and then close it. And when you look, you've pinched the 4 corners, like made 4 corners on the tube, and then you put it in the opposite direction, making sure that it's centered. I can feel it just slipped out. You get a feel for it. There's a little learning curve with this. But once it's in the center, in that direction, you close again, and then just maintain the position of that crimp tube in that little well, and just go around and around until you don't feel that it's doing anything. Whoops, it just slipped out. And when you take this away, you have this perfect little bead. And the crimp tubes, the number 2 crimp tubes, I have a 4, like it was a assortment of 4 colors. So the gold, copper, gunmetal, and silver. So, nobody that doesn't make jewelry can tell that that's not just a little bead. And so now I'm just going to string. And I think this is where I really, I never know till I try the beads, but I may have to cut that little tail off. If it does fit through, it's nice to trim away from where your clasp is going to be, but let's see, does it go? No, it looks like it's not going to fit through those seed beads, so that's okay. I can come in here with my cutters as close as possible and just cut that little tail. And so my plan for this, as I said, is a super simple, almost a non-pattern, just one of the Azuki seed beads, one of the rondelles. I think they were called rondelles in the box, but I just, like I say, I tend to call these little discs. But that is just so pretty. It's just so simple, elegant, black and gold. You know, just I was thinking I could actually layer this with other bracelets that I've already made for the season and will make, because, you know, I'm about to get a couple more boxes my monthly bead boxes have already shipped. So let me get one more on here and show you. So that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to do my entire bracelet just like that. So simple and so wonderful. I just love it. So I'm going to continue stringing to my desired length, and I'll be back and we'll finish this one up together. So this was like 6 or 7 minutes of stringing, and look at this. It's so gorgeous. It's so simple, but it's just really elegant. I mean, look at that. And this is a bracelet that I just did this week. There's a video for this. I can link it below. It's on oval memory wire, but look how great that stacks with that. So I think a classic black and gold, really uniquely textured, simple, but stunning bracelet is going to be like a wardrobe staple. And look, I have almost the entire tube left of the seed beads, and I have about half the strand left of my rondelles, so they may make their way into my next I'm going to do my next bracelet. Is going to be a little bit more complicated than that one, but I'm going to just finish this off the same way on this end that I did on the other. Just put my crimp tube on, make a loop. We already know that the little tail end is not going to feed back through, so just get that loop in there and trim it as close as I can, like I did on the other side. I just try to match up my loops. They don't have to be perfect, but you know, I try to have them looking about the same. I'm going to pull that one just a little bit more, and then, like always, I just want to make sure that, you know, this is a nice fluid bracelet and that I'm not crimping it in a really tight straight line. But with the seed beads in between, this just has the most amazing little texture to it, and it is very fluid. And I love the way that seed beads extend a strand of beads. With a seed bead in between, you can see that I got my length right away without using up all of my check glass beads. So that is just wonderful. Before I crimp, I usually just check to see that my size is right. And now I'm going to repeat the exact same thing on this side that we did on the other side. Just fit that tube right in the middle and make sure everything is centered. And just go around a few times. And if you've been on my channel before and you've seen me use the magical crimping plier, I'm sure you've heard me say this, but I'm fascinated by this. Every time I do it, I feel like the magical crimping plier makes that tube into a really unobtrusive, very secure little bead, and a non-jewelry maker just has no idea how this piece of jewelry is held together, because that little bead, it does not look like it's doing a function. It just looks like part of the design. So I have some gold filled jump rings here, and I'm going to just take out 2 of them, and that way I won't have to put my anti-tarnish coating. Whoops, almost lost my lid. That way I won't have to brush the anti-tarnish coating, my Permalac, which I love to do. I always put it at the end of every piece of jewelry that I make. Sometimes I don't always show it in my videos, but it's my final step when I make a piece of jewelry. And I'm just going to add one of these gold filled jump rings and this little magnetic clasp. And just make sure it's closed really well, and same thing on this end. I mean, truly, you could just be done there. I mean, this is just so beautiful and so classic, and I just love it. But I am going to put my little coffee cup, my coffee mug on there because, I mean, I am a coffee lover year round, but in the autumn and in the winter, like, a cup of coffee is just so wonderful. And I'm debating if I want to remove this. It kind of looks like a bale, kind of like a little mini bale. And I'm just debating if I want to just leave it. My assortment here of diamond cut gold filled jump rings, and I'm going to take the largest one. This is an Amazon find. I love these jump rings. They close perfectly. The diamond cutting makes it so that you can't see where it begins and ends, and they're nice and sturdy. Nice thick gauge. There's the opening. As I said, they're so pretty that it's even hard to see that it's not a solid ring. And what I'm going to do is put this around the entire circumference of my bracelet, and I'll show you what that does. And I think I will at least start out with that bale on there. I think it's pretty. At first I looked at it and thought it kind of looks like it should be on a necklace, but I kind of like the architecture. Just get this closed really well. And so if you've been around my channel before, you have seen that I put my jump rings around the whole circumference so that my charms move 360 degrees around my bracelet and they don't ever get kinked. But this one is large enough to go over the rondelles. So my little charm, my little coffee mug charm, is not only going to go around 360 degrees, but it's also going to float around my bracelet. So it's really, really beautiful. And no matter which way I put my bracelet on or my wrist moves, I'm going to be able to enjoy my little gold coffee mug. That is the sweetest, prettiest bracelet. I'm just so thrilled with it, and it was beyond simple. If you're brand new to jewelry making, this is a wonderful, wonderful beginning project. So I'm going to jump into the next project that I have, and from my stash I just have this little copper flower toggle, and I was recently on a girls bead shopping trip with friends, and I got a little Colosseum charm because I'm an Italian girl and I have spent some time in Rome. I stayed just right outside the Colosseum. In fact, I could see it from my window. So I have this, I had purchased this in gold plated, and I also got the copper one. So I think I'm going to use that today. And I have some 11-0 seed beads in copper here, and I'm going to just put some of those out on my mat. And I am going to use the beautiful little 7mm check glass flowers from our treasure box this month that have that copper wash. So pretty. And as I said, we received Potomac pearls. I've already cut into mine, so let me pull them in. But we received this olive gold glass pearl, the Potomac pearls. I just love those, and they are so beautiful. If you did not see my unboxing in my first project, I did a project after I unboxed, and I did a stunning pair of earrings using these flowers and these pearls, and they're just so pretty together. I just feel like I have to do another project. And then I have no idea where I got these, but I have some little spacer beads that are square. I don't know if I'll use them in my pattern, but I'm going to put them out here. And let's see, what else will I need? I am going to take a bracelet length of another 49 strand. This is the copper colored metallics, and I'm just going to do a bracelet length. use this for a measurement. I tend to eyeball things, measure with my heart, right about there. Give myself a little bit of extra for making my loops. Okay. And basically, this is going to be another simple stringing project. But I was thinking I would play with the idea of adding in a little bit of black to this. And this time I am going to reach behind me and I'm going to clamp off one end, because this time whoops, these are hard to hold on to. This time I am going to play with a pattern, and so leaving both ends open allows you to play with your pattern from both ends, and it can save you a little bit of time. So I'm going to start, let's see, I'll start with a seed bead, and then let's see, maybe a pearl. A seed bead. Let me see what the rondelle looks like. For me, this is the most fun of jewelry making, is creating patterns. I just love playing with the beads, and I just love it. It's just so it's so relaxing and so gratifying to try the different bead shapes next to each other, and I just love it. So for this part, I usually will pause my camera, because for me, as I get my pattern the way that I want it, there's a little bit of on and off, and I love it. It's relaxing and it's fun. It's like really, really enjoyable. So let me just play for a little bit with my pattern here. Oh my goodness, you guys, I love this little bracelet. Look how beautiful the pattern turned out. So I just created stations with the flower beads flanked with those little square spacers, and then little stations with those rondelles flanking a pearl, and the pattern for my length just worked out beautifully. I have right in the center, across from where the clasp is going to be, a flower station, and there are 3 pearls in between each of the stations, and I absolutely love this little bracelet. And I still have flowers left over, and I still have a little bit of everything left over. So I am planning another bracelet, maybe in a separate video, but I'm thrilled with the way this turned out. So this is going to be the same thing. Let me clean up a bit. So this is going to be the same thing that we did on this bracelet. I'm going to use some copper number 2 crimp tubes. I'll need 1 for each end. I can link these below. They are from Beadalon, but I have a couple of different ones that work really well with the magical crimping plier. And this time I think I will go ahead and attach my toggle clasp. I had some jump rings already made. I'm not sure if they are going to be, I don't think they're going to be big enough to go around. Let me see if I have some. I like to make my own jump rings. If you've been on my channel before, I'm sure you've seen me do it. But these are some ones that I made with 20 gauge copper wire. Let me see. Okay, so I just took out 1 to add my Colosseum charm, and then 2 little bit smaller ones. And these are actually in an antique bronze wire that I had, but it looks really good with my copper spacers. 2 connected here. There we go. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and get my toggle ready and use it for leverage. I'm going to make my loop right over this. And if you wanted to, you could definitely crimp right onto your toggle clasp. I am just a lover of jump rings. I like the movement that you get the flexibility and the ease of on and off, but also if I change my mind about a clasp or if it fails, I can just open the jump ring and change things out without having to restring and remake my whole bracelet. So it's kind of a habit that I've gotten into. So I'm just going to come to this end, put my crimp tube on, and put my jump ring, and do the same thing we did on the other bracelet. Make a loop, and we already know that it does not go through those seed beads, but this time I have a little bit of leverage because I can hold on to my clasp and just pull that loop. And on the first end, you don't have to worry about tension or anything. You just crimp. Just make sure you don't break your seed beads. The four corners are pinched. Okay, I'm just going to trim and do the same thing on this side, and same thing that we did on the other bracelet. Just make sure that I don't have a rigid bracelet before I crimp. I had to take a little pause. So I was looking at my design when I finished crimping this end, and I decided to go ahead and put a little copper crimp cover on top of my magical crimped bead, just because it looked so much, there was no differentiation between how my pattern ended up and that final bead, and I just decided that I wanted to add a crimp cover. So that's what it looks like. As I always say that if you need to make your magical crimped bead look a little bit larger, that you can put a crimp cover on top of it, but you don't have to. But in this case, aesthetically, I just like doing it. So I'll show you how to do that in case you've never done it. They can be a little tricky, and especially these that I have are small. Larger ones, I always find they're a little bit easier, but you just fit it right over the magical crimp tube, and then don't be too aggressive. Just gently close it, and the goal is to just go side to side and just gently make it form into a bead so that nobody can really see the seam. And so, you know, just don't be too aggressive because you can mangle them. So, and I generally fuss with this kind of a thing too, just to go get my pliers in there, and just in small increments. And I just, you know, keep going little by little until that seam is pretty closed and it's not obvious that I have a crimp cover on. There, that's pretty good. I don't know, I just feel better about it. That's just like a design element for me. But you guys, this is the most beautiful little bracelet, and I absolutely love the pearl with the black. I think this is going to be a gorgeous layering set. And so the last thing, well, the second to the last thing I'm going to do is add my little Colosseum charm that I treated myself to on my girls' beading trip. I'm going to open this jump ring, and I am going to come right here, like I did on the other one, over the whole circumference of my bracelet and add my little Colosseum. I just love Italy so much, and any little thing that reminds me of Italy, like delicious coffee or the Colosseum or the Trevi Fountain or any of the places that I've visited, Venezia, the gondolas there, anything that reminds me of Italy just makes me so happy. So even though these are really simple, just strung bracelets, I always try to do something that is meaningful. And I have been to Italy in the autumn a few times, and it is just absolutely beautiful. So these two gorgeous, simple, fun little bracelets are done. I am so thrilled with them. They're so easy. And if you're just starting out making jewelry, this is such a great thing to do, just practicing your crimps and practicing with creating your bead patterns and stations. So I am going to do one more thing. I am going to use my Permalac coating, and I keep a little plastic dish for that. And this is just plated my Coliseum and my little clasp that I had in my stash, and I don't want it to get any darker. I really love the color of the copper, so I'm just going to take my Permalac coating, Permalac anti-tarnish coating. I cannot talk all of a sudden, but I'm just going to brush it on, and I'll definitely brush it over that crimp cover so that it doesn't darken, so that it stays as it is, and just come to the other side. I love this product in this little brush form. It is so easy to apply. It dries really quickly. And you know, stylists will tell you that fashion jewelry is only supposed to last one season. I've heard that so many times, that you know, your fashion jewelry, you buy it, wear it for the season with an outfit 2 or 3 times, and then you're done. But when I hand make something, that is just not long enough for me. So I love this product, and whether I'm giving something away or selling it or keeping it for myself, I love knowing that I did this extra little step. So I always do any of my metal findings, my clasp. Now my jump rings have an anti-tarnish coating on them, so I don't have to worry about doing those, but I can still, you know, I can still brush them. It doesn't hurt anything. It dries clear. You don't even see that it's on there. And I don't even feel that I need to give it a second coat. I just want to keep things the color that they are. And I am also going to do these little spacers, these little square spacers. I actually don't even remember where I got them, but I'm going to give them a little coating too, just so that they don't darken. And the nice thing about the Permalac coating is that if you happen to brush a bead or a pearl, it doesn't cloud them. It doesn't do anything to it. You really don't see it. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing to this one. I'm just going to brush this. I don't know what this gold is that's on this clasp, but that's okay. I'm going to give it a coat anyway, and that way I'll make sure that my gold doesn't rub off, because I'm actually not sure what it is. And I did use gold-filled jump rings on this bracelet, so I don't need to worry about that. And I'll go ahead and brush it over my crimped bead. And my little coffee charm is gold plated, but I think I'm going to brush this over my coffee mug charm as well, just to make sure that it stays looking that bright shiny gold. So I will put some pictures up at the end so you can have a really good look, up close look at these projects. And I thank you all so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to the Potomac Treasure Box, it is a really great monthly subscription. I really love getting it. I really enjoy all the special things that are in the box every month. But if you're not interested in another subscription box, you know, I know as jewelry makers there is a lot of choices out there for us, but don't overlook the Potomac Beads website. I always link it in the description box of my videos, and if you use my link to shop the website, it does help my channel, but it doesn't affect you or change the prices in any way. And it's just such a great resource. They have an entire section of the website for seed beads. They have a section for crystals, a section for check glass. It's so well organized. You can find just anything that you want. My Permalac coating is one of their great products, in my opinion. I just love it. And, you know, they're just really experts in all things jewelry. So use my link in the description box. I hope you're all safe and well and having fun on your beading mats, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, creative friends.